Details require effort. More details, more effort, more time. Because the general public knows what they want. They can look at a detailed car and say, that's what I want. How much are you going to charge me? But they have no idea how much time and effort it goes into deliver those types of results. So there is a big disconnect. Now, as a mobile detailer, as I've spoken about many times in the past, is that you are at a disadvantage because you never get to see the car in person. So you've got to go through a series of questions with any potential customer that's calling you interested in your detailing services. You've got to start at the broad general information, what year, how many miles, what color is it, those types of questions, and you got to go more and more narrow, more specific, so that you can formulate a high resolution picture in your head so that you can then deliver them a price range. Now, I never give a hard price to any potential customer on the phone. I always pad it as in a price range. For example, after I get all that information from the potential customer, I will say, okay, based on what you've told me, I would charge you between $350 and $400 to detail your car. Okay, sounds pretty good, Darren. Let's make an appointment. And then I tell them then on the phone, okay, the day of the appointment, you and I will inspect the car together. I will be able to see firsthand exactly what I'm dealing with. And then if you need, I can give you a specific price in that moment. In pretty much every situation, they're going to want a specific price, which comes down to the disconnect and how do you close that gap between you and your customer in that moment. So I like to use analogies or metaphors or examples with people that they can understand to help them make a connection between you as a detailer and your challenges as a detailer and their world or their understanding. So for example, let's say this potential customer, I set the appointment and now I arrive. And that price range was between $350 and $400. Now I review the car and it says I thought it would be based on the questions and the answers they delivered to me. And so now it comes down to like, oh, okay, what are you gonna do? As in, how much are you gonna charge me? And this is where I put it into their lap. And I say, answer me this. Are you committed to results or are you committed to a price budget? For example, I can do a great job for $350. I can do a better job for $400. You may not want to spend $400. You were okay with it, but I know that this car is worthy of $400. I know I can spend the time and effort and spend your $400, but I also know that I can make you happy for $350. Well, here comes the question. Well, Darren, what is the difference? I struggled for years in how to answer that question in a way that made sense to them. I already illustrated the question to them, which is I want an answer from them. Are they committed to results? Meaning, yes, I will not go over $400. Therefore, they're giving me permission to do everything possible I can to raise the bar on perfection so long as I keep it within $400. Or, you know what, Darren? In giving it some thought, I would prefer if you stayed to the $350 budget. Yes, you told me you can do a good job. I don't really want to spend the extra $50. Okay, so that's the answer. But most people will sit there and they will struggle. So this is the comparison that I do, because it really is all about the details. Details require effort. More details, more effort, more time. So I will bust out my 3 brushes and I will say, okay, it really is about the details. For $400, I'm going to spend more time on the details. So for example, I could clean your entire interior of your car with this brush and it would be really, really good. And I could say, okay, this is actually your $325 price. If I'm going to do everything with this one brush, I'm only going to charge you $325. But if I'm going to use this brush, which is more detailed because it's smaller, I can get into areas that this brush can't, this is going to be your $350 price. Then, if you really want the details nailed, it's going to be with this brush, because this really can get in areas that neither one of these brushes can get into. But I'm not just going to use this brush because that would be highly inefficient. I want to be efficient and effective. So I'm going to use all 3 brushes, and that will be me nailing the details. And that will be the answer to your question. This is your $400 price tag. This is your $350 price tag. And this is your $325 price tag. That's how I answer that question. That's how I deal with people. That's how I deal with the disconnect. So let's get started and let me show you as I clean the inside of my driver's compartment of my van.